Hello and welcome back to Aetheral Space 8.11 Caged. We are back. Hello.
Yes, last time on Aetheral Space, Dragon climbed out of the canyon and got inside, but he was escorted to a jail cell where North found him.
Yes.
And then, aside from that, I don't think anything super big happened. I don't remember.
We got North backstory.
Yeah, we got North backstory of why he left the team is because he thought Skipper was crazy. Okay. And is your fun fact going to be at the end again?
Yeah.
All right. What do you want, North? Dragon glared at the Umbran standing outside his glass cell. It was only natural. The last time he'd seen the former member of Skipper's crew, he'd left Dragon to choke to death on poison gas. To be honest, he was lucky there was glass and Neverwire protecting him from getting a solid punch to the jaw. North wagged an admonishing finger as he Is there something in the background of your mic?
No, that I know of.
I can hear some. Am I echoing maybe?
I just slammed it in my hand.
North wagged an admonishing finger as he strolled across the perimeter of the cell, eyes carefully scanning Dragon. You first, pal, he said, scratching an ear. Like I said, you're supposed to be dead. Head blown off. How come you ain't? Dragon tapped a finger against his own temple as he turned to follow North's movements. Well, as you can see, asshole, my head is firmly attached to my body. Looks like you've got bad information. He almost winced as Pan chirped up next to him, but managed to restrain the reflex. A dead boy, she cried out. That's truth. That's what happened. Why pretending? Dragon ignored her, not even glancing in her direction. He wasn't sure what North was doing here, nor what he wanted, and he wasn't about to give him any clues as to his situation. Pan kept yelling stuff at him, seemingly under the impression that he couldn't hear, but Dragon tuned it out. I don't know. North sucked in air through his teeth. I was pretty nearby at the time, you know? Stray suspicions solidified in Dragon's mind, and a groan escaped his lips. Oh, damn it! You were Micah? North smirked. Took you long enough. Dragon grunted as he sat up further on the bench, raising an eyebrow. So, you lure us in and bring us here. Obviously, there's something you want from us. What is it? North flickered out of existence, and then reappeared on the other side of the cell, sitting cross-legged on the floor. Dragon swung around to follow him. So we're changing the subject, huh? North smirked, one hand on his chin. That's what we're doing? Cool. But, yeah, I do need you guys' help with something. And what's that? Dragon sighed. And why are you asking me? North's smirk spread into a grin, and Dragon felt a heavy weight settle over his shoulders. He got the distinct sense that he was being played in some way, but he didn't really have the energy to figure out how. He'd keep it in his mind as a background process, figure it out later, but play along for the moment. Well, North flickered again, reappearing leaning against a wall on the opposite side of the cell. Skipper ain't too happy with me right now, but you're literally a captive audience. And with those on you, you're not exactly gonna attack me. So yeah, I'm going through use. Dragon scowled. So what? Do I look like his secretary to you? Good way of putting it, yeah. He flickered once more, reappearing on his feet a short distance away. See, the way I see it, you ain't likely to get out of the cell anytime soon. I'm tricking the cameras with my ability, and I've got the audio set to loop, but sooner or later, they're gonna figure something's up, you feel me? Get to the point. North leaned forward, his leering grin unbearably smug. So, I got a deal for you. The kind of deal I'm not really in a position to refuse, I assume? The grin only widened. It's my favorite kind of deal, boss. It's a 3-step sort of thing. I bust you out, you help me do what I gotta do upstairs, then I get you reunited with your crew. Big happy party, everyone goes home. Sound good? What is party, dead boy? Pan asked, leaning into Dragon's field of vision. Dragon leaned forward as well, still ignoring Pan's questions. He stared into what he assumed to be North's eyes. But saw no signs of the micro-expressions that should have been there. Even now, then, he was using a hologram as a decoy. You say I haven't got a choice, he said carefully. But what exactly happens if I refuse your oh-so-generous offer? North sniffed, rubbing his nose with a thumb. You see the cell you're in? Take a good look at the floor. Dragon glanced down, squinting to inspect the rows upon rows of tiny holes in the ceramic beneath him. His eyes widened. Oh. It's biohazard quarantine, North elaborated needlessly. This ain't my first rodeo up here, hence why I'm so damn good at getting around the security. Every now and then, the security boys will bag and tag a stray repurposed, bring it up here, and the scientists will do their thing. Scans, dissections, all that nice stuff. And when they're done, incineration. Dragon gulped. North knew he had him. So you say you don't want my help? You might live a little while longer, but eventually these guys are going to be done with you. When they are, they're going to burn you to a crisp, burn the crisp to smoke, and purify the smoke to nothing. Or you can help out your good buddy North and walk free. North raised an eyebrow. So, what do you say? What do you mean you lost him? Skipper mumbled, his face buried in his hands as he sat down on the bench in the corner of the warehouse. After they'd returned from confinement, they'd elected against lurking around the surrounding hallways. A toy Muzazi would no doubt be looking for revenge after his special officer partner was killed, and under the circumstances, it was best to stay somewhere with plenty of witnesses. Still, that meant things were noisy. Ruth winced as the sound of a crying child pierced her ears. Messed up, Skipper. The guards came after us and he got away while I was fighting him. Bruno, his arms crossed, looked down at the floor worriedly. Did he say anything about what he might be doing? Any clues or anything? Ruth shook her head sadly. If he had, she hadn't caught it. Shit! Bruno clicked his tongue. With a final wipe of his face, Skipper threw his hands out at his sides. Still! He cried, as if wiping the slate clean. It's not like he's going anywhere, I guess. He's stuck on this planet, same as us. Hell, he's stuck in the building, same as us. And he's a smug son of a bitch on top of that. No way we don't run into him again. But what do we do? Bruno demanded, his arms still crossed. We came here to grab Panacea before all this happened, right? You said enough to win a war with, but North was our only lead on how to grab it. At this point, Mr. Dell said, Skipper leaned back in his seat, my bigger concern is getting off this planet without getting turned into a mushroom man. And I think I know the best next move for that. Would it be next best move?
No.
Okay. Ruth cocked her head. What is it? And some Del Teaway said that communications off-planet aren't down, but that Exocorp are blocking them. Not sure if I believe that, to be honest. I get the sense he's trying to play us. There's only one way to find out for sure, one way or another. Bruno nodded. We check out the communication network ourselves? Directly at the central node. If they really are down, then we can all cry and have a pity party together. If they're not... He trailed off, his eyes far away. Skipper? Ruth asked. If they're not, Skipper said, voice dangerously low. And we came here for nothing, and Dragon died for nothing. Then I'll show them just how disagreeable someone like me can be. Oh, this guy again. What makes a king a king? Blood, both their own and that which they could spill. Once John Blair had been next in line to inherit a throne, but when that cowardly planet had joined the UAP, the monarchy had been done away with. His family had been cast aside, told to make do with old properties and revenues, and abandoned to the winds of mediocrity. As a child, John had been told to forget about his rightful throne and settle for the life of a common man. His humiliation had been considerable, but not total. He could see now that his crown had merely been delayed. He'd just been meant for greater heights. He stood on the edge of the cliff, inspecting the Exocorp building from a distance. January was on one side of him, script set out before him, while Susan watched over their position with her sniper rifle. Peon was keeping their base of operations secure, while Ian was in place inside. Ian's voice came through their internal communication network. Security's concentrated around the quarantine floor right now, sir. We won't get a better opportunity. Very good, John replied. Then our crusade begins? Everything was ready. The time had come. John turned down to January, the hefty man hunched over the controls he'd set up for his explosives. Slowly, he nodded and spoke through his own lips. Set them off. January's thumb slammed down on the button. Fine, Dragon growled, staring North down. Just get me out of here. North stood up with a triumphant grin, slapping his hands together. No problem, pal. I stole the codes for this little cage a long time ago. No skin off my bones to bust you out. 3 things happened at once. First, there was the distant sound of an explosion, and the building shook. North stumbled mid-step, and Dragon was forced to grab onto the underside of the bench to keep himself steady. Second, North, with a visible look of alarm on his face, flickered out of his existence, his presence utterly vanishing. For a moment, translucent aether crackled in the air, but then it too disappeared. Third, the doors at the far end of the room swung open, and a security squad marched on. 5 guards with their commander, Marsh. With their commander. Marsh, they called him when they were bringing Dragon in, at their head. Their expressions were hard, and their eyes resolute as they approached Nither. There it is, the quarantine cell. Where'd you get Nither from?
Songs.
Get up! Marsh barked at him. You're coming with us, freak! North's voice, uncomfortably close to Dragon, was barely audible, but the message of it came through loud and clear. Ah, he said, looks like this might be a little more physical than I thought. John took a deep breath through his helmet as he landed within the building, his heavy boots slamming down on the ground. The bomb Peon had built from that wrecked ship had been just as effective as promised, blasting through the reinforced exterior of the building without issue. January landed on one side of him, Susan on the other, all 3 clad in their heavy armor. Massive plasma rifles in their grip, they rose to their feet. Eyes forward, team, he commanded. Let's begin. On the other side of the hallway already, he could see their opposition approaching. Huge and hulking things of black metal, tall enough that their heads nearly touched the ceiling. Still, they were of no consequence. With Aether and Panacea combined, nothing was of very much consequence. That's true with Panacea. Could you, indefinitely Aether burn?
Who can say?
You can say.
I won't say.
He could feel it above, like his own beating heart. The flesh that must be destroyed. The false children. Time to begin. What'd you say in response?
I won't say. That's what I said.
That's so fucked up of you. So what's your fun fact this week for him?
Fun fact. This is entirely unrelated to what has happened in this chapter. But the Fifth Dead, their Aether ability was based off the Gene Tyrant ability to reboot.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, it's not like he does the same thing. It's just that's where he got the idea.
Oh, that's interesting to me because that means he studied or looked at Gene Tyrants and he was like, "That's tyrants," and he was like, "That's so cool. I want to be just like that. That's goals, bestie."
I was born in the wrong era.
Well, I have a question about the Fifth Dead. Was his personality different in previous iterations?
Oh yes, it changes.
So it's
a different
it
person.
Really is like the reboot.
Yeah.
Do they retain memories?
They have knowledge of memories, but not emotional attachment to them.
Right.
They have the information.
That's so useful too, because if you ever get too attached, then you just die and are able to hard reset. Damn. Anyway, all right. That's all for Aetheral Space. Anything else from you, Tan? This is kind of a short one this week. There's not a lot to say about it. I don't think it was good or bad. It was just kind of moving the story along.
I have nothing to say.
All right. I'll end this episode here then, and we'll see you guys next time. I think the next one's short too, but then who knows what we'll get after that. We might get some longer fights, it looks like. All right. Bye.
Bye.